Do you dream of winning the lottery? Because I know I do. So I wanted to have a bit of fun today and just go through a really short list of watches that I would most definitely buy if I won the lottery, assuming they are 100% available. So let's not put any constraints on this. There's no wait list or any of that rubbish for this video. And before we get cracking, just remember, guys, if you like what you hear, it's just a girl standing or sitting in front of a camera talking about watches and the stuff that she loves. Please subscribe below and show your love. And remember to comment and add your watches to the list below about what you would get. Okay, so we've won the lottery. Any watch that we want is available to us, which is the most important part. What would you pick? Well, I would definitely get a Patek, or Patek, depending on how you pronounce it, but Patek Philippe. And I'd get an Aquanaut white gold in the khaki green in a chronograph, which retail in Australia is just over 100 grand, apparently, depending on where you look. It's usually a lot more because they're not available, but we're assuming it is available. Now, why am I getting this watch? Because I think it's fucking cool. I mean, honestly, I love green watches. I love sporty watches. And I just love that watch. I mean, there's a couple of other Pateks that are really amazing watches. But I would definitely get this watch. I would wear this watch, which is part of the criteria for me. I want to wear watches regularly. I don't want to just pull them out on a special occasion, which I feel some of the other watches really is what you'd have to do. I mean, this is self-winding. It's 42.2 mil. It's got the flyback chronograph with the sapphire crystal. 120 meters water resistant. But let's be honest, even if I win the lottery, I'm not swimming with that watch on. I'm just wearing it because I think it looks very cool. Let's not also forget that the band itself, the rubber, I don't even think you can buy them readily anymore. They're worth like 8 or 9 grand just on their own. So I'm getting this watch with the lottery for sure. Next watch on my list, and I feel like I've got a Patek. You have to have a Vacheron Constantin, right? I mean, they are beautiful watches and they're so expensive that I feel like I have to put it on there if I've won the lottery, because unless I win the lottery, it's going to be a long time before I can get one of these. Now, there's something that I really loved about the Harmony Complete calendar. Again, it's another perpetual calendar type watch, and I've put one on there, but it doesn't matter because we've won the lottery and we can have whatever the hell we want. At $56,000 retail, it's not cheap, it's not outrageous for that brand, but it's beautiful. And again, I've picked an 18 karat gold pink watch. It's got a cushion shaped case, which just looks amazing. And it's just got a little bit of that Vacheron flair without it being too wild or boring. They tend to do watches for me that are a little bit too plain. I know they're not plain on the inside, but I mean in terms of the aesthetic, because as you know, I don't know, I'm not a horologist. I don't pretend to be, I never will be. And I just like the aesthetics of a watch, right? And how it looks on my wrist. And this one is just beautiful. So it's a complete calendar. So it's got day, date, month, and the moon phase. Now, I mean, I don't know if I'd ever use those complications, but the fact that they're there, I'm kind of happy with. So I think this is definitely on the list. Yes, I've put a Rolex on this list. I haven't gone with what I think people are going to think is like a typical pick, but if you're Australian, you're going to get this reference. If you're not, I apologize in advance. I will throw up a picture so you get the gist of what I'm talking about here, but I've picked the Rolex GMT, the Pepsi. Now, I've done that for 2 reasons, because I love 3 reasons actually. I love the watch. I love the color because it's the color of my favorite football team, which is, yep, that's right, for all of you Aussies, particularly Victorians, I'm a Demons supporter, so go Melbourne. And I mean, It's Magnum PI's watch, so you can't get any cooler than that as a child of the 80s. So I've picked it for those reasons. And, you know, because we've won the lottery and there's no limits or criteria to this, it's in white gold, because why not? And I would happily wear that as another tour watch and a daily wearer. So hell yeah, that thing is on that list. What watch list? My watch list would be complete if it didn't have a Panerai on it. Yes, of course, I've got a Panerai on my epic list. There are so many that could be on this list, but I thought for the purposes of today, I'm going to go with something that I've actually had the pleasure of trying on and thought it was fucking amazing. So we're talking about the PAM 742, which is the Luminor Perpetual Calendar in gold tech. I'm not usually one for bling, but this thing was just beauty on my wrist. It's gold. It's like like it's not yellow gold, but it's like a pinky rose gold with the blue dial. And it had this sort of two-tone leather. I'm going to throw up the pictures so you'll be able to see it, but it's two-tone sort of leather strap. And it was just perfection on my wrist. It's about $72,000, so that's definitely one I will have to wait for the lottery to get, but it would have to be on the list. It's GMT, day date, it's got leap year, power reserve, and it's got a 24-hour indicator in seconds, and it's just brilliant. So that is definitely on my list, guys, for sure, 100%. What next? I'm going to go with something really fun that's actually, it's not readily available in the sense that you can just walk into a store. It's limited edition, but I love this watch. I don't think people will agree with this being on the list necessarily, and I think you'll understand why, but it's the IWC Big Pilot's watch, and it's specifically the Top Gun in the Mojave. And the reason I would get this if I won the lottery is because I wouldn't just buy this watch tomorrow, assuming that I had a spare $24,000, but it doesn't actually look that great on my wrist, which is pretty unusual because luckily, like, I can wear hats and I can wear watches and that's about it. But I still love it. So I would still get it and I would wear that thing around loud and proud, even though it doesn't look that great. But because I've won the lottery, it doesn't matter. So we're talking about the 7-day power reserve. It's only about 250 pieces per year that is available. Hence, why I probably still wouldn't walk in the store tomorrow and get one. But we're also operating on the assumption that we can just get whatever we want, people. So let's roll with that. And it's also sapphire glass. It's a cool watch. I definitely have it in the collection. I mean, at 25 grand, if I've won the lottery, that could definitely become a daily wearer and you wouldn't be worried about it. So why not? Final watch. Picked a Breitling, because I love them. I'm yet to get one in the collection, but I love the history, and the more I learn about that brand, the more in love I fall with it every day. As a tool watch, the things that those watches can do are epic. So I thought, let's get a Cosmonaut, because remember, no budget limit, no constraints on availability. This thing is unable to be gotten. That's the worst grammar ever, but I'm just going to roll with it. But in this scenario, I can get whatever I want. So I'm getting a Cosmonaut with a 24-hour watch face, which I think is amazing. I mean, that thing is so epically brilliant. It's just beautiful. I love the way the numbers, the numerals are on the face. It kind of nods back to the original Navitimer as well. And I just think it looks epic. I would happily have that in my watch collection. Having said that though, I wouldn't walk down the street and buy one tomorrow if it was available, just because I think the watch face for me is a little bit too different for a daily wearer. And I like to be able to wear, as I've said before, all my watches all the time. So I don't want them too fancy and I don't want them too complicated for that reason. But I do want the Cosmonaut. So it's on the list. It's fit for space. It's 41 millimeters with a 24-hour dial. I've said it before. It's about 15 grand Australian, maybe just a tad under. So it's actually relatively affordable. It's not really. I mean, $15,000 for a watch is still a shit ton of money. I get that. $3,000 for a watch is still a lot of money. So I get that, guys. But it's on my list. So I reckon I've got a pretty good, I don't know if it's diverse, but it's a pretty good list. And I'd be really keen to hear about what you guys would get if you won the lottery and you didn't have any constraints, whether it's 1 watch, 10 watches, chuck it in the comments. Let's talk about it and have some fun.